Welcome to the Bauer Power Hour, where we pack motorsports, power sports, and the outdoor lifestyle with technology, innovation, news, and good times into an action-packed dirt-flinging show. Hosted by the one and only Charlene Bauer, who's been serving the off-road industry for over 20 years. Time to throw the green flag and get ready for another wild lineup.
Hello, I'm Charlene Bauer, and welcome to this week's episode of Bauer Power Hour. Today's show is presented by Discount Tire, BF Goodrich Tires, the Mopar Pennzoil Express Lane, I'm Not Just a Girl, and Kicker Audio. Well, we just got back from Easter Jeep Safari, where we got to spend time with all our partners in some way, shape, or form. I really want to thank them all for their support and the ability to have fun together in the dirt. This industry really is awesome, I gotta say. This episode's guests are Jeremy Ayers from Nitro Gear and Axle and Kyle Krause from Arizona Off-Road Promotions. Then Rachle Engle will share her incredible Easter Jeep Safari story on our Offroaders Rock segment, and I will talk about the exciting Ladies Co-Driver Challenge on this week's Bauer Media Adventures. But first, for some breaking news. Hammer King Productions has announced the dates for the 11th annual King of the Hammers presented by Optima Batteries. The 11th annual KOH week will commence with Hammertown opening to the public on Monday, February 3rd, and will continue through Saturday, February 11th, with the main race taking place on Friday, February 10th, 2017. All races from the 2016 events are expected to return for 2017, including the Smitty-built Everyman Challenge, Polaris KOH UTV race, Klim King of the Motos, and Vision X Shootout. 2016 was the biggest year to date for King of the Hammers, and Hammer King Productions hopes to continue to the growing momentum into next year's production. For more information and to plan for next year's race, visit ultra4racing.com. Malcolm Smith Racing has released its all-new 32-page 2016 Spring Collection catalog. From the NXT Air Series hot weather vented gear to the timeless styling of the Legend 71 series and the all-around expertise found in the Axis riding gear, MSR has your back no matter what your riding style. While the MSR team was tailoring the spring 2016 collection of riding gear and casual apparel, they decided to do a little spring cleaning on the website as well. The MSR Racing site has been fine-tuned to improve functionality and customer interface, and the updated look matches the new catalog. Check out their full catalog by visiting the new and improved website at msrracing.com. Dragonfire Racing recently introduced its new dual-purpose cargo rack for the Yamaha YXZ-1000R. Intended to increase the versatility of the purpose-built YXZ, the cargo rack is the newest addition to the comprehensive range of race pace accessories designed specifically for the race-ready YXZ. The cargo rack easily adjusts and locks into two positions. One is the Baja style, race-inspired, and another is the cargo mode for added storage. It moves up and down out of the way for convenient access to the bed, fits up to a 30-inch tire, and any ratchet strap will mount tires easily to the bed or the rack. For more information on the cargo rack and to see the rest of Dragonfire's products, visit dragonfireracing.com. iLab has announced a new partnership with six-time off-road race champion Bryce Menzies. iLab is highly successful action sports and youth culture-inspired streetwear brand. After his epic success in the off-road world, Bryce Menzies is now regarded as an elite member of the off-road truck racing and one of the most highly respected members of the community. And the Bryce Menzies by iLab gear line promises to deliver the same amount of regard. Keep an eye out for the new line and check out their current products at ilab.com. All of this news and more is available at offroadnewswire.com. If you have off-road news, please feel free to submit it to winning@bauermedia.com. Do you want to know what cool events are happening this weekend? Check out the Bauer Media calendar that is packed with cool events to attend across the country at bauermediacalendar.com. And if you don't already get our weekly newsletter blast with the week's calendar, Bauer Power Hour info, current news and information, and more from the industry, be sure to go to our website and join in. You will never be left out of that inside circle again, guaranteed. Well, let's get this show started and get to the phone lines to chat with our first guest, brought to you by Discount Tire.
When you're driving down the road, the last thing you want to think about is tires. Trust Discount Tire to get you up to speed on the right tire for your vehicle. Log on now to discounttire.com for the best deals on tires and wheels. We're America's largest independent tire store. Come check us out and we'll show you why. And remember, if ever you're not satisfied with one of our tires, please feel free to bring it back. Thank you.
You keep hearing us talk about gears and axles and how much they matter. Well, we are lucky to have a professional on the phone tonight, Jeremy Ayers from Nitro Gear and Axle, to tell us more. How are you doing tonight, Jeremy?
I'm doing very good. Thanks for having me on.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much. So, Nitro Gear and Axle, let's start from the beginning. When did you guys start the company? How did it work? Tell us the story.
Well, our company's been around for about 10 years now. Nitro Gear and Axle came about probably 8 years ago. Basically, my business partner and I have done nothing but differentials since we were 19, 20 years old. We, in fact, used to work for one of our competitors for several years, and that's how we kind of got into it. And 10 years later, you know, we've got a well-known brand that's been very successful for us, and, you know, kind of look forward to continuing to grow it.
Wow, so you have been doing differentials and being part of those axles for a long, long time. So you really see the benefits and drawbacks of everything that goes into them.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people, I guess, forget that when we put on a taller tire that the vehicle doesn't shift the way it's meant to. It's not in the proper RPM range, and so it's I guess you could say it's one of those things that's overlooked a lot of times, is having the proper gear ratio for the tire size that you've put on your rig. Yeah.
And that's true. Like, we were talking about this the other day. When you change your suspension, you have so many different things to change. But when you change your tires, you also have to think about that too, which is directly related to the gears.
Right.
So how do people know what they should do?
Well, it's really about talking to a gear professional. We're going to ask you the right questions, like, you know, how much have you lifted your rig? What is the tire size that's on it? And how do you intend on using your rig? Such as how much percentage is off-road versus on the road? You know, if it's, say, your diesel truck, how much does it tow and how much weight do you tow? So by asking these series of questions, we can properly identify the right gear ratio for your vehicle.
All right. What are some other questions that matter? What else do you guys usually ask?
Well, you know, has the rig been re-geared before? Does it have traction devices in it? You know, things like that. And basically, does it have an overdrive transmission? Is it a diesel? Is it a gas motor? All those things kind of come into play to picking the proper gear ratio.
And is there like a grid that you guys work off of, or you say, oh, okay, this is what you need? It's pretty well and set.
Yeah, it more comes down to experience, just, you know, knowing kind of which vehicles have which transmissions, and knowing that, hey, this transmission does have overdrive, this one doesn't. So, you know, all the guys at our place are very well versed in, you know, late model vehicles as well as older stuff.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
So what makes the Nitro Gear and Axles different from a competitor?
Well, we basically kind of go the extra mile to ensure that we have a gear set that sets up close to an original equipment gear, and it also runs quiet. So one of the myths about a ring and pinion is that, you know, my brand is stronger than your brand. That's not really the case, because with a ring and pinion, the difference between good versus bad really kind of comes down to, is it noisy or quiet, and how well does it set up? Because, you've got shops, all around the nation setting up gears, and
Right.
time is money, right?
Right.
So we don't want to be pulling out a gear set 6, 7, 8 times to change shim.
Right.
So we just kind of go the extra mile to ensure that the machining is as close to original equipment as possible.
Interesting, because we've been in that situation. I've learned this whole shimming thing.
Right?
Yes, it's quite the experience.
Yeah.
And there's a lot to that, but that is what makes it run and perfect in the end.
Right. Yep.
So while we're talking about setting gears, what are some tricks that you guys have learned over the years that maybe somebody that's getting into setting gears might be able to learn from you tonight?
Well, so when setting up gears, the biggest thing is probably having the right tools, readily available. You don't want to be halfway into a job and realize that, there's a tool I don't have that, you don't want to have to go rent or buy this tool. You want to be properly equipped from the get-go.
Yeah.
So in that, you're going to need a set of dial calipers. You're going to need a dial indicator on a magnetic base. Carrier bearing puller is a pretty important tool. One of the tricks that we'll often use, like on setting up a Dana diff where the shims are under the bearings, is we'll actually use what we call setup bearings.
Uh-huh.
So a lot of times we'll take the old bearings that come off and hone them out so that they're no longer a press fit, they're a slip fit. And, then you can set up your differential, get the backlash correct using your setup bearings, and then pull it back out and put on the brand new bearings that are a press fit.
Oh, very cool. Yep.
That's something that can save quite a bit of time.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
When do you come up with new products? Is there multiple times when you need to, or is this field kind of locked into these are the different gear sets that we need and that's what we got?
Definitely not locked in, because as vehicles get newer and body styles change, all the manufacturers basically change up their axles too.
Okay.
So just like engines or transmissions, you might have the same engine that runs for 7 to 10 years. A lot of times that's the case for axles too. So we've found over the last, 5 years that, Ford, GM, Chrysler, Toyota continue to come out with this new stuff. So we've always tried to bend ahead of the curve when it comes to making new gear ratios for an axle that didn't previously exist.
Uh-huh.
A couple that come to mind right now is the new 2016 Tacoma. They have a new 8 3/4 rear end in a lot of them. We actually have 488 gears being developed for that we will have in May. And then the other new one that we're doing is the Colorado and Canyon. So the Colorado and Canyon used AAM axles for its first body segment, and now the second body segment, I believe it came out in 15, uses Dana axles. So we're actually developing 4, 5, 6 gears for those new Colorados and Canyons too.
Interesting. How long does it take for you to develop these products and bring it to market? How do you guys do that? You do all the R&D there in-house, or tell me your process.
Yeah, it's typically about a 6-month process. Just by the time you locate axles from a lot of times it's a wrecked truck. Like, for instance, Colorado, we just recently picked up these Colorado axles from a brand new truck, had 15 miles on it, and somebody had wrecked it right away, right? So
poor guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's, round up the axles, it's tear them apart, measure everything, document everything you found, and, then we've kind of got a starting point. We know what bearings it uses, we know all the dimensions, the spline counts. Then we go to the computer and put it all in the computer, basically.
Interesting. So there's a lot of computer work that's able to allow you to then diversify based on what you need to go to next.
Right. Correct.
Huh. And then how do you test your products? What's your guys' method?
Well, testing basically, once the gears have been manufactured, we will do a setup. We'll take that rear end, we'll set up the gears, run a pattern. So what we're looking at there is the end result obviously is we want a good tooth contact pattern. However, we're also checking all the bearing fitment to make sure that your rear pinion bearing is the proper press fit. Is the ring gear the proper fit on the pilot of the carrier? Because your ring gear should not just drop onto a carrier. There's actually a machined pilot. So it's actually a very important surface because when you put that on, there's two things holding the ring gear to the carrier. One is the bolts, but two is that pilot. So if it's machined properly, we'll typically heat it up and then drop it on and tighten up all the bolts.
Mm-hmm.
But all these things, the pilot surface, the bearing spots, they all get checked when this new gear comes in. So we'll run a pattern, make sure that it sets up properly. And one big key factor is we know what it originally took with the factory gear, how much shim. So we want to make sure that our new gear has a similar shim as factory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. There's so much to it, right? Isn't it? It must intrigue you to keep doing this day after day. There's so much to it.
Yeah, I mean, it's
He's like,
fun for me.
yeah, kinda. No, it's difficult, right? It challenges you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, just owning a business and having employees and coming out with new product and trying to compete with many different competitors, is kind of what gets you up in the morning, I guess you could say.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I mean, yeah.
Well,
I can't imagine doing anything else.
I love it. Well, Nitro Gear is the sponsor this year for We Rock. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And what else do you guys do? You guys attend a lot of events.
We do an awful lot of events. King of the Hammers, Tierra del Sol, Jeep Beach. We're doing some car events this year too. We're doing a Motorama out in Atlanta. We'll be doing the PRI show in Indianapolis. We also sponsored this year the Southern Rock Racing Series.
Oh, cool.
So we sponsored that series, and there are several different Ultra 4 drivers and a couple Southern Rock Racing Series drivers that we sponsor. So I mean,
that has to be like the ultimate test of your product, right? Is putting your gears and axles into a rock bouncer and just letting it just explode itself.
Right.
Well, that's what they do. Like, it's awesome.
It is, yeah.
And talk about the amount of pressure that has to be put on your component parts. Like, you're pretty much one of the ones that makes it all happen.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, with the rock bouncing thing, I got to tell you, I love watching the rock bouncers, and you almost kind of cringe watching, just like,
right? Yeah.
What part's going to break next, Because the amount of power those guys are putting out and the tires that they run, it's inevitable that something's got to give.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I don't think there's any manufacturer out there that can go and say, my part is indestructible for a rock bouncer. I don't think that really exists.
That doesn't exist yet. Yeah.
I don't think it does, no. I mean, unless they want to run axles that are ridiculously heavy and stuff, but then they don't have the competitive advantage anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of got you going on the gears and everything, but what else do you guys make? What else do you guys offer for everybody out there?
Well, we basically an entire line of differential products. So pinion yokes for just about every axle you can think of, in forged yokes and cast yokes and billet yokes, differential covers for, again, about any rear-wheel drive, four-wheel drive application out there.
Yeah.
Carriers, spider gear kits. We've recently, in the last year, we've gotten into traction devices. So we've got a line of nitro gear and axle worm gear posies, similar to a Torsen or a True Track. And then we also manufacture reproduction power locks, which are a Dana design, two-piece case, clutch type unit, rebuildable. And coming soon is another line of lunchbox lockers. So a drop-in style automatic mechanical locker that will actually be called lunchbox locker. So we kind of took that, like everybody calls them a lunchbox locker, but nobody's actually named them that. So we're just going to run with it.
All right. So a whole long list of things. Awesome.
A whole lot of parts, yeah.
A whole lot of parts that all help do the same thing.
Yeah, and 2 warehouses, one in Washington, one in Georgia, and each one is, I mean, literally full of parts, floor to ceiling. Too many parts.
Too many parts, he says. Awesome. Well, some of the questions I like to ask too, especially since you've been in the industry for a long time, is what have you noticed has changed in the off-road industry since your company started? Maybe, you know, to the differential side or just in general?
Boy, I don't know. I'm going to say that as long as I've been in it, I've seen a whole lot of growth. I've seen, especially in my market, I've seen more companies trying to get into the differential market, and even some of the old companies that we've seen and heard about for years and years and years are now getting into the aftermarket too. So, I mean, but as a whole, I guess I've seen just tremendous growth, not just in differentials, but suspension, wheels, tires. I mean, every show we go to, year after year, the show gets bigger. I mean, Easter Jeep Safari this year, I want to say that they had to turn away like 50 vendors just because of not having enough room. You know, they would have loved to have had them, but there was nowhere to put them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a good sign for our industry, though.
I agree.
Yeah.
What's a piece of advice that you want to give to the next generation of business owners or enthusiasts that are trying to build something right now?
The biggest thing is just don't give up and know that you're going to put in an awfully a lot of long hours day after day. I mean, for your first couple of years, you're going to be working 7 days a week, and you're probably going to put in like 12 to 14-hour days every single day.
Yeah. Or for the next 10.
Yeah. So even though you might feel like you're burnt out, like if you want to succeed, you don't really have a choice. You just got to keep at it. Exactly.
I love it. All right. Yeah. One of my favorite questions, zip ties or duct tape?
Zip ties or duct tape? I'm kind of a fan of zip ties, but don't skimp on zip ties, because cheap ones, they do not do the trick.
Right,
Get
exactly.
The good ones.
Exactly. Well, you can find out more about Nitro Gear and Axle online at nitro-gear.com, on Facebook and Instagram as Nitro Gear Axle, and on Twitter at Just Differentials, or visit their Nitro Gear YouTube channel. Final word for us tonight?
Thank you very much for having us on. I enjoyed it, and we should do it again sometime.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much. That was some great information and tips, too. So now we'll join
Yeah.
our next guest, brought to you by BF Goodrich Tires. If you race on 2 wheels or 4 wheels, there's an opportunity for you to race in your local environment. Here in Arizona, we have a great group led by Kyle Krause from the Arizona Off-Road Promotions, or AZOP, that hosts a lot of events. Hi, Kyle. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. How are you, Charlene?
Good, good. So you put on a lot of events.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. How many a year? What are you guys up to?
We have 2 different series: a Grand Prix series, which is 8 races, and then a Hare Scramble series, which is 8 races. So that's 16. Plus we add some here and there, some team races, motocross races, all kinds of different stuff. So over 20 for sure.
So you kind of go with my same thing of hashtag never bored, right?
Never bored. Busy, gone, always gone, traveling somewhere, looking for new places.
So let's start with the different categories. What constitutes a GP race?
So a Grand Prix race is basically a shorter race, maybe a 50-minute to an hour race, and it'll sometimes have a motocross track involved, and then some off-road sections. And so it might be a 3-mile loop to a 10-mile loop, and you go for about, like I said, about an hour.
Okay.
And then a Hare Scramble race is roughly 2 hours long, or longer, and the courses are longer. The loops are longer. They could be up to 10-mile loops to 50-mile loops.
Okay.
So that's the big difference of the two. So it's more of an endurance race for the Hare Scrambles.
Yeah, so a lot longer and more endurance in the scrambles versus the GPs. But what about vehicles? Pretty much the same set of vehicles that you're using at each, or?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, you can race the same ones for sure. A lot of motocross guys, when you talk about bikes or quad guys, they might like the GPs better. But a lot of the guys that race, or gals, they do them both. So
Yeah.
you can have one setup.
Yeah. So we have what different classes?
Oh boy, we have every class from a 4-year-old all the way up to a 70-year-old. So we have age groups. And, we have motorcycles, quads, UTVs, which is the biggest growing class, and then some races. About 5 races this year. We include trucks and buggies.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So we have from pros to beginners to in betweens and different age groups.
So are these like 1-day races, or do you have multiple days going on?
Some of them are 1 day, and then some of them are going to be 2 days this year.
Okay. And
Yeah,
what's the excitement behind the 2-day race?
The 2-day races are the GP, a couple of the GP races. In Prescott Valley is one of them. They shut down some streets for us, and we do it right in the middle of town, so it's really, really exciting. We're trying to make it a more of an event than just a race. Where this year we're working on getting a band, a beer garden, kids zone, bouncy houses, food, kettle corn, ice cream, all kinds of different things for people to do. So they can come out for the weekend, camp out, and just have a good time and enjoy the racing along with all the other activities. And to help the towns, we go to a lot of smaller towns, and they're really excited when we come there and bring the people there to see their town and get involved with that way.
Cool. So you do have some other events that are associated with the racing.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's fun. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, what it sounds like, too, is these are all family-friendly events. Like, you could have your kids racing, and dad and mom could all be racing on the same day.
Yeah, and they do. A lot of them do. It's pretty neat. So we try to spread it out where they can race and then watch their kid, and they're not like back to back. So you can get done racing, and then your kid can race, and they all want to watch their kids. So, and we're trying to push the kids program more and more. and we're adding a UTV 170cc class for the kids and for a couple of the races and some trophy carts, just depending on the locations where they can race at.
All right. So, what are some of your favorite stories that you've come up with through the years?
Favorite stories?
I know you got to have at least one favorite story.
Oh, boy.
Putting you on the spot right now.
What's that? You're putting me on the spot on my favorite stories. There's been some really cool races to watch. I mean, some guys that were just neck and neck. I mean, those are always good stories when you talk about the pro guys or whoever that are just, they come within seconds of each other at the finish line.
Yeah.
Some of the fun stories behind the scenes are me and Richie, my partner, making the courses. We've ran into some difficulties. He's rolled my razor making the course, and flipped the little trailer that we towed to mark the course over and stuff like that. Those are pretty funny stories that people don't really know about before the race takes place. Or after the races, when the race is over and then it pours rain when we're cleaning up and it starts pouring rain, and we're always like, really? It's raining now after the race?
Right.
It was dusty during, and we were hoping for rain, but no, it waits till afterwards. That's happened maybe the next day or so.
So, great point. There's a lot to it. There's a lot to putting on an event.
Oh, there's tons of stuff, yeah. And we're very small. It's just me and a partner, and I got a lot of friends that help out and stuff, and our wives. But yeah, it's from getting the permits, insurance, and talking to the landowners and marking it, cleaning it up, and getting the toilets, and yeah, there's a whole lot to it that people don't understand. And the major thing is getting the sponsors to back it, to help us, because we're working with BLM, and you have to get a lot of environmental studies going, and it's pretty pricey, some of these permits. Yeah. Yeah, so without the sponsors, it would pretty much not happen.
Who are some of your main sponsors that support you?
Oh, wow, we have a lot of them. Shock Therapy, Arizona, Pain Centers, Lone Star Racing. We have a bunch of sponsors, and every single one of them is a huge help. But without them, we would just, like I said, it wouldn't happen. I actually had to hire a guy, Richie's dad, to help us get the sponsors because it was we just needed them. So
yeah,
we got like Extreme Metalworks, Automart, Motul, Desert Ready Mix, North Valley. BCI Radios helps us out. Ready to Print, great sponsor. Rising High, STI. Well, if I don't want to miss anybody, ABC Body Shop. A lot of these guys too. Tube Saddle's one of them. Southwest RV.
Are they racers too?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Some of them are racers too, so it's really cool. They get it. They wanna help promote the sport because they race it. So
sure.
We actually had R&R Steel. That guy's awesome. He actually paid for all our UTV entries on our opening round this year at the Vulture Mine in Wickenburg. We ended up with 53 UTVs.
I saw that. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. And then
yeah.
Mile High Network is actually paying for all the kids to race Prescott Valley Memorial Weekend this year.
Awesome.
So pretty cool, yeah.
And what a great way to get kids involved in our sport, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And, a free race, you can't beat that. You come out and see if you like it. That's what I think is cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we were trying to work some different ways of getting sponsorships and, giving back. And I think that way, I'm like, look, I don't even want the money. Just pay for the racers to come and get them to come. That'd be cool.
Yeah, let them get the experience.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, let's hit reverse for a second here. How did this whole series start? What made you say, this is what I'm going to do? I'm going to put on 16 to 24 races a year. Well,
I started riding when I was 4. Then I'm like, okay, I want to start racing. I don't know, when I was a teenager, everyone was like, hey, you're pretty good, you should race. So I'm like, all right, let me go do that. So I told my parents, hey, I want to go race. They're like, no, we're not paying for that. I'm like, what?
Right?
So they said, well, when you're 18, do whatever you want. I said, all right. So I turned 18. I'm like, I'm going racing.
Cool.
And then I said, oh, I have no money. Again, I had to wait. So about 21, I started racing, and I raced bikes and quads and did it all and raced forever and raced everybody else's, scored best in the desert and works and whip everything. And I said, man, I love this. And started getting older and older, and some injuries came along. And I kind of settled down. You know what? Let me get into putting on races with a buddy of mine. He owned Grindingstone, was a motocross track here at Close down.
Yeah.
But we started there, and I told him, I said, hey, let's start a race series here, which we did, and it went great. And then that closed it down, so we, Gary, Curtis, and I said, let's start our own thing called AZOP, and that's how it started. And we just did some races around Arizona and the surrounding areas, and Gary was a big wig in another company. He had to get out, and I got Richie Reeves wanted to come in, and him and I said, hey, let's just keep going. And we just started finding more and more places and really hunting them down and talking to people and landowners. And every time I find a place, I want to put a race on there because I get so excited because usually it's so hard to find locations.
Yes.
So then I get out of control, and I just started saying yes to everybody. Let's put a race there. Let's put a race there. So we're hoping one day it calms down. We pick some really good races out of all of them, and we can get a nice series going.
And how long ago did you start the series?
5 years ago, we started AZOP.
Okay.
Yep. And then it just started growing and growing. And then we added UTVs a couple of years ago, and then trucks and buggies. We actually did a few races last year because those guys have nowhere to race here in Arizona, so they were coming to me and asking me. And the problem with those guys is it's tough to find the land to race those on. They need more space,
Yeah.
So, but we got a series together for them this year, and slowly growing, so we'll see how that goes.
And you have mountain bike racing. Did I not hear that?
Yeah, we're starting mountain bike racing. So a lot of the
gosh.
guys that race dirt bike and quads and stuff, they cross-train on mountain bikes. So
Yep.
I had a bunch of them going, man, you got to put mountain bike races on. I'm like, So I bought a mountain bike. I said, well, I better buy one and start riding one and see what it's about.
Isn't it fun?
Awesome.
I know. We just got into it, too. It's kind of crazy. Yep.
Hey, I'm going to race our first one in June in Prescott.
Yeah, I'm not a mountain bike racer at the moment.
You're not a mountain bike racer?
No, I'm a mountain bike rider at the moment. We're definitely not a racer yet. I'm still I'm still missing my throttle hand, to get up all those mountains and stuff.
Oh, I know. Me too. I know. I did a 20-mile mountain bike ride Sunday. I thought I was going to die. I was like, man.
Yeah. But I did figure out pretty early on that you have to make sure your pedals are even before you go through the rocks. You can't be pedaling through rocks. It doesn't work out well.
Exactly. Be careful with the clip-on pedals. I got those. Boy, if you slip a little, you fall right over.
Yep. No, it's definitely something entertaining. But anyways, enough about our destruction of mountain biking.
Yeah. I'm excited about that next. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. So you guys really are kind of one of those teams that's like looking at what is going on and adjusting to what people are wanting as well, it sounds like.
We are. I mean, we're the only race promoters in Arizona, off-road-wise, that put on races for all of the disciplines. There's other ones that just put on bike, motorcycle races, or mostly car and UTV races, but we do all of them. And one thing we try to do is we try to make the bike courses somewhat separate sometimes from just the other courses, because bike guys like tighter stuff usually.
Yeah.
Not every race, but we do, if we can, we definitely will take the time and make a separate course, or at least different sections of it go off and add some pretty cool stuff in it. And that's what I think people have to understand, that we do try our hardest to do that for the bike guys, because I was a bike guy to start with. So
yeah. And you mentioned too, I picked up on that you have a lot of different locations and you're always scouting out locations. So are those all local environment ones, like to Phoenix, or are you traveling, you're putting distance on people, or what's the scene there?
Yeah, it's pretty much, if you're in Phoenix, the farthest one's about 5 hours away, but we do try to stay in Arizona. We have a couple that are out of Phoenix. So we have one in Mesquite, Nevada coming up. It actually is Arizona, but you have to go through Vegas to get there. So everyone thinks it's Nevada, but it's actually Arizona. That's the funny part.
Oh,
that's
really?
Next, yeah. But then we go to Maricopa, we go to Wickenburg, Lake Havasu, Prescott, Shola. I mean, Flagstaff, Mormon Lake, got it all over. Page, Payson. We got a lot of different areas. We try to cover the whole state of Arizona, put it that way. We even did one in Rocky Point a couple times.
And that's kind of neat, too, because that gives you different terrain every time you're racing. You're allowing them the opportunity to be somewhere different, not the same track every time.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I liked when I was racing, to go to a bunch of different areas. I mean, I know it's tough for people sometimes to get the time off work to travel, 3, 4, 5 hours, but it's cool because you would maybe never go there.
Yeah.
So, we have some cool places in the winter. In the summer, we go to Prescott, Flagstaff, St. John's, places like that that are cooler. So,
yeah.
We definitely try to find places all over Arizona, that's for sure, all the different cities, towns.
Well, you're continuing to grow. You're continuing to make your series bigger. What's the ultimate look of your event? Have you kind of thought about that, or are you just kind of going with it?
We're just going with it. I mean, we just want, we do want to grow. We want to, I would love to get more people to work with us, and just make it a fun thing. I just loved racing, growing up, so I want to give back and put races on, and just fun, safe, family-oriented races for everybody.
Yeah.
And Arizona, they lost their other race series a while ago, so there was really nobody that was doing it for everybody, all the different disciplines, so that's what we wanted to kind of do. And we like when people camp out and stay the weekend, and the day race still stay and have a good time.
Do you guys support any nonprofits as part of your event, or?
There's been a few that we've had did some stuff for some breast cancer awareness and testicular cancer. I had cancer. I'm a cancer survivor, so I'd like to give back to that.
Yeah, congratulations. High five through the phone. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's been 3 years now, almost 3 years now, so.
Nice.
Still rolling.
Still rolling. All right, I love it. Well,
down a little bit, but that's there and it grows back.
How have you seen that your series has contributed or changed maybe to the off-road environment, to the off-road industry?
I just think that we try to listen to what the racers want. So I think that's good. Me being a racer, I know some things, but other guys might have other ideas, and I try to take it in and listen to them and change some stuff. Don't change everything, because some people say some stuff that you can't do.
You're right.
They just think you could race anywhere you want. And but we definitely, with the UTVs, we're trying to really, really hit that hard and get a lot of UTV guys. And what I'm working with Lone Star and Shock Therapy and those guys, we're trying to do something out of Quartzsite here at the end of the year. And
cool.
What we want to do is kind of like a free thing, and just try to get everyday guys in UTVs to come out and talk to them guys, the shops, and say, look, it's not that big of a deal. You don't need a $50,000 car to race our stuff. You can come in here as a beginner and get your safety equipment, your nets and your fire suits and stuff, and just show them what they need, because a lot of them are confused and like, it's too much money to get involved. And we're like, no, if you already got the car, it's not that much more.
Yeah.
So
that's very true. That's very true. Safety equipment is not that expensive if you already have the vehicle.
Right, and some people don't understand, why do I need the nets? Why do I need the, fire suit? I'm like, well, things can happen, You got to have the safety stuff, and you just spent $25,000 on your UTV, spend another $500 to get the safety stuff.
I was talking to somebody the other day, and they actually said it really well, is, we don't dress and we don't do things for our everyday ride. We prepare for the crash. And, you don't need to wear a helmet when you go out on a bike, but you know what? When you crash, you sure do want the best one on.
Yeah, you do.
Right? And
Yeah.
when something happens, you sure do want the best stuff around you. So, yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Safety doesn't cost much in the big scene of things.
No,
So.
not at all.
All right, one of my favorite questions. Zip ties or duct tape?
Oh, I like zip ties.
Yeah,
I like zip ties because I was racing one time and my zipper broke. My pants were coming off, so I had to come in the pit and zip tie my pants together to finish the race. Hard to go to the bathroom in an emergency situation, but that's what you gotta do.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Well, there you go, the latest and greatest zip tie technology.
Yes, it's made for everything. Love it.
Well, you can find out more about Arizona Off-Road Promotions online at azopracing.com, on Facebook as Race AZOP, and on Instagram and Twitter at AZOP Racing, or visit their AZOP YouTube channel. Got all kinds of cool stuff on there. Final word for us tonight?
Come race. Come and try it. Check out our videos on our website. We have lots and lots of videos from all of our previous races. So you can really just look at that and get an idea of what you're in for. It's a lot of fun. So like I said, if you're new to racing, come and check us out. I think you'll really have a good time and get hooked.
I agree. You'll definitely get hooked. So thank you.
I don't know many people that race and say, oh, I'm never doing that again. I was like, that was awesome.
Right. Well,
and not every race is awesome, but, you can keep going and you'll end up liking it for sure.
Yeah. Definitely. Well, thank you for joining us tonight, Kyle. And now let's join Rachle Engle to hear her incredible and lucky story from this year's Easter Jeep Safari for this week's Offroaders Rock, brought to you by the Mopar Pennzoil Express Lane. Now, here's a cool story. I had the opportunity to give Rachle Engle an opportunity to join the Warren Group in Moab. But what came out of that small experience turned into a week of the industry proving that off-roaders rock. But I didn't want to tell the story. I wanted Rachle to tell the story. So we got her on the phone tonight. How you doing?
I'm awesome.
Awesome. So tell us how this whole week went down. It was just like incredible at the end, wasn't it?
It was. It was absolutely epic road trip. I'll start by saying I'm a girl in the off-road world, and I think we all know how difficult that can be. I had some excellent people bring me into this, starting from the time of my Barbie Power Wheels Jeep and my parents teaching me to wheel at a young age. And then, long story short, I get divorced over a Jeep. And
what? Right?
Yeah. I spent more time in the garage than he did, and it became a curse word in my house. So life turns around. I started focusing more on my Jeep because he hated it so much, and I ended up in a trail in rural Ohio and bumped into this great guy, and we started building a little Jeep club of our own. And then one night we're out working on one of my buddies' CJs, and I get a message from Charlene here that I won. And I kind of flew off the handle and posted some things. But long story short,
that we can't hashtag right now.
Sorry. There's many hashtags involved in the story. That's not one of them.
It was awesome, though.
It was. So we're working on the CJ, and I get the message from Charlene, and it's 11 p.m. on a Thursday night, and I have to be in Moab at 8 a.m. Monday morning. I live in Ohio.
Yes.
It's a long journey. I didn't have ramps for my trailer. I wasn't sure if I was going to camp or find a hotel. I just, so much and so little time, and so excited to do it. Like, anybody that talked to me during those 48 hours of getting ready knew that I was incredibly excited about this whole experience. I went to Moab when I was little, but it was, with my mom and her tracker. It's not Easter Jeep Safari. I mean, the opportunities that were presented to me, thanks to you and your whole team, which I don't even know, but I want to, we started an epic road trip. I said, I've won this. We're going to find a way out there. I think that Charlene already thought I was out there.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. So
just being honest
here,
at this point.
Yeah. So through friends here, I found ramps. I talked to my best friend's boss. I found somebody to watch my puppy. And we loaded up and found a hotel. Thank you, Hotel Moab. And 36 hours straight, we drove to meet you guys and Jesse at 8 a.m. for the Warren ride.
So when I realized that you weren't actually already planning on coming to Moab and that you were going to come regardless, that was when I'm like, okay, we're going to make sure that she has a great week and include you in our Tuesday event and our Wednesday event. And because I didn't want you just to come for a day, like that would be silly, right? But
right.
Who knew?
Absolutely.
Who knew? So
yeah, once I'm out there, I don't think I would have left anyway.
So Monday morning, we finally got to meet you. We'd been messaging, making sure that you survived the drive. And
Yes.
So Monday morning, got to meet you, and things started right out of the gate.
Yeah. I'd met Fred Perry before, so I saw him, and I knew he was, a Warren guy. And then another vehicle pulls up, and it's my lifetime idol, Jesse. And then you come over and say hi, and I'm just it's out of body experience. Like I was amazed at everything going on around me.
And your winch didn't work.
And my winch didn't work because in the hurry to load out of the house to get to Moab, I had managed to have a blonde moment and drag my winch controller. So it pulled out of the controller, and it was bad. So mercifully, Warren hooked me up with a controller to use. Didn't actually need it running Canes Creek, but it was an awesome experience.
Awesome.
And then
so that was Monday.
That was Monday, and then Tuesday, I had to do some Jeep repair. My journey out there had kind of weakened my track bar and my stabilizer bushings to the point that it wasn't fun on the road anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So we went to wash my Jeep, and the Curry guys were there, and I was able to buy a track bar from them. And then we went to put the track bar on and found that a certain brand who will remain nameless has a drop bracket for a track bar that, through some leverage, had cracked my frame right at that bracket. And for the Curry track bar, that bracket had to come off. So if I'd have taken that bracket off, who knows what would have happened. But the guys at Moab 4x4 Outpost, Steve Nance is great.
Yeah.
He stayed till 12:30 one night to weld up that part of my frame, because God knows I didn't bring a welder with me from Ohio. And got it all set back up in between me going to the ladies' night Tuesday night, which was amazing with BFG and
yes, thank you for coming.
Announcement from you.
Yay.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
And getting a picture of Jessie by her rig, that was great. The Wednesday, even though we're from Ohio and we're used to snow, we wake up to the Poison Spider and BFG run, at area BFE, and it's snowing, and I didn't have time to put my doors on after leaving Steve's shop at 12:30 the night before. So we just roughed it all day. And
oh my God, it was freezing. It was snowing.
It was so cold. Like there was a fire. Poison Spider was passing out beanies. It was so cold. And but God bless that BFG guy. He went right through telling us all about those tires. It was great. And then we had awesome barbecue for lunch.
So what did you learn on the trail?
Oh, I learned from Miss Charlene how to be a ballerina on the trail. Back here in Ohio, in the East, we have mud, and sometimes you have to give it a little throttle to get through. That's not the case on Slick Rock in Moab. It's not the case at all.
Yeah.
There's a lot to be said for easing in and out of those big rocks.
Yeah, so. And you became such an awesome, better driver by the end of the day, because we were really concentrating on dancing with your vehicle, like keeping it into a nice classical music, not the rap music of jarring back and forth.
Once I realized
awesome.
that most of those other people had automatics, and I had to work a little bit harder with my stick, it started making sense.
Yeah. Yeah, so we had a great day on the trail. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. And then Wednesday night, I got my first visit to Grandpa's garage.
Yeah.
That was amazing. So many cool people. Such a legendary place.
Yes.
I was humbled, truly.
And you were the grand winner of...
Yeah, the raffle drawing. I won 5 BFG tires at Grandpa's Garage.
Now, if anybody could say this girl was lucky, this is about the point when, you just want to go buy a lottery ticket, right? But it continues. The story continues.
It absolutely does continue.
So at this point, I'm thinking, okay, Rachel had an epic trip, took her into the trailer, showed her where I do my work during the week, and we were all just having a great time, and I didn't think I'd see her again, but that wasn't the truth. So what happened?
No, around here we call it the bucket dreams, and it just kept building. So where were we?
Thursday.
Thursday. Oh, see, it's still amazing to me. It's what, a week later now?
Yeah.
Thursday, the vendor show. I met some great people. I roomed with a super person, and she is with Ready Lift, and got to see her Jeep, her JK, all cleaned up at the show, walk around, meet some people. The Warren guys were there, of course. Poison Spider was great. Go Rancho, due to a little tattoo on my cheek where my boyfriend is actually licking it onto my cheek, they gave me a thrush exhaust and posted it all over their stuff. I met Jason from KC, and that's just amazing. That Jeep is amazing. The things that KC lights do compared to some of the lights I have, it's amazing. Have I said amazing enough yet, Charlene? Oh, good Lord.
So then on Friday.
Yeah, and then on Friday, we were planning on packing up and leaving Friday morning because most people have to be back at work Monday morning. So I got a message from one of the KC Highlight guys saying, hey, you should come to Grandpa's Garage tonight for, our event. And I hear they're going to do a night run or something afterwards. And on the list of bucket dreams, a night run in Moab is surreal.
Yeah, especially during a full moon week. It was awesome.
Oh my Lord. So amazing. So I couldn't pass that up. I couldn't. So we found a way to stay another night in the hotel, and we got to go to Grandpa's Garage again, and Shelly made everybody that amazing spaghetti.
So this was the We Rock and Dirt Riot dinner.
Yeah.
And I come walking in to make sure we get all the media done for it and everything.
Right?
And I look over and there's Rachel and AJ, and I'm like, what are you guys doing here? Did you not leave yet? What's happening? He's like, no, I met Jason. And so I pulled Jason from KC over. I'm like, do you know her story? Do you understand how this all happened? And so awesome night wheeling, right?
Amazing guy. It's just amazing. Yeah, off to night wheeling and following Big Rich around and his XJ, and seeing some of the buggies play in the sand dunes.
Yeah.
There's no way I ever could pass that up. And everybody, all the guys at the drawing for them that night were rubbing their tickets on my shoulders, trying to rub off my luck.
Did you win anything that night? I don't remember.
I won being there. No.
I won being there. That's awesome.
Yeah, I won being there.
And then you guys rolled out on Saturday, right?
Well, we got up to leave Saturday morning, and my tow rig wasn't really having it. We had kind of fried the brakes coming over the pass, the I-70 pass on the Rockies the first time. So AJ, the amazing guy that he is, I'm just frazzled at this point. We've got to get home. This has been great, and so many memories and so many connections, and thank you to so many people. But we got to get home. So the Jeep's already loaded and strapped. He changes it with the help of the O'Reilly guys and their floor jack, changes the back disc brakes without even dropping the trailer so we can go across the pass.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
25 mile an hour, no four-wheel drive. It was an epic trip home, too.
Well, if you guys learned...
And then, of course, this morning you call me and tell me about this, and I'm just floored again.
Well, if there's anything that anybody learns out of this whole deal is when you get an opportunity, you take it and you run with the bull, right?
Yeah. You never know what's going to happen the next day.
Exactly.
I mean, I've been through some stuff in my life, but this makes everything awesome.
And it just takes that 1 minute to go and prove that off-roaders definitely rock. Thank you for joining us tonight and sharing your story,
Thanks
Rachel.
for having me.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me. Thanks to everybody who met me, who saw me. Like, I'm sure I've missed names. Please don't think I don't love you, because I do. Thank you.
Well, if you know of an off-roader who rocks and gives back, or someone who's been on the receiving end of something awesome and wants to share their story, be sure to reach out to us. And now for a behind-the-scenes look at one of my many Bauer Media adventures, brought to you by I'm Not Just a Girl. Hi, I'm Charlene, and after going to lots of events, I found something missing. Cute girl shirts that actually fit. I said, we can fix that, and now I design a new shirt every other month for the tough girl that wants to tell the world, I'm not just a girl. Available in extra small to 4XL, you can choose between high-quality tanks, tees, or sweatshirts, and we have a whole line of jewelry and gifts as well. Visit I'mNotJustAGirl.com to see all the designs and size charts. Available direct through Etsy, OpenSky, and Amazon, or at multiple events across the country. I'm really excited about this project. The Ladies Co-Driver Challenge. Yes, that's what we're going to do. And I'm going to be doing 3 events this year. So first of all, we're going to be doing Rally Adventure out of Reno in June. And then we're going to do 36 Hours of Uwharrie in North Carolina in August. And the Rebel Rally, which is a 10-day adventure from South Lake Tahoe to San Diego with nothing but maps and compass in October. But really, that isn't my big announcement. The announcement that we've been talking about is you, ladies, could be my co-driver. So the situation is, potentially, I could honestly go and power pack my vehicle with just about anyone. But I didn't want to do that. I wanted to go out and give others the opportunity to be part of this vehicle that may not otherwise have it, right? So no, you don't have to know how to drive or be off-road fluent. No, you don't have to have a vehicle or take tons of time off. But what you do need to have is the will to finish and the will to be successful and the will to succeed. You need to be that I'm not just a girl. You need to say, I can do this and I want to do this. The entry is honestly very simple. There's a quick form that needs to be filled out on BauerMediaTours.com. Most of it is just your contact information, and then there's a few questions about what you can bring to the team. Of course, there's more than knowing how to pull winch cable or how to recover a vehicle, so put down other things that you may be able to do. What other skills do you have? I asked for 3 pictures, one of which I do want to see your face, and the others are fine. Just have fun with what you choose. You have until April 11th to get on my radar by email to winning@BauerMedia.com. We'll then go into a social media contest where one of the photos will be posted to have your friends help you get to the next level. They'll tell me through this that they believe in you and that you should be my partner. I'll interview the top group and come out with 8 that will be invited to Arizona for a weekend of challenges. We'll learn and we'll work on recoveries. We will work on driving in the sand. We'll work on doing all kinds of cool stuff. We'll even shoot some guns, I think. And after that weekend, we'll be able to decipher who will best compliment me at each of these events. Yes, there will be 3 ladies chosen at the end. If you're listening to this, and this is after April deadline, your time has not actually been wasted. I encourage you to follow along as we complete our adventures and cheer us on. At least now you know how we got there. It's going to be an epic year of learning, of friendships, and challenges for sure. And if you're listening to the story and would like to head out or be part of something like this, always feel free to email us at winning@BauerMedia.com with your information to be entered to win the All Access Adventure Sweepstakes, where you get to pick where we get to go on an adventure. You want to head to Moab or ride shotgun in a trophy truck? We can make that happen. Or maybe you want to go wheeling someplace special. It's your choice. But be sure to put All Access Adventure in the subject line with your name, address, and phone number in the body. And now for Social Dirt, brought to you by Kicker Audio.
Hey guys, let's load up!
I love my small town world. I love a country girl. I love a Friday night. Man, I love this life. Sound of an old dirt road rolling through my
For this week's Social Dirt segment, we asked our fans to share photos and stories from their favorite trails on our Facebook page. And here are this week's featured stories. This week's lucky winner of the Bauer Power Hour swag bag was Travis Comfort from right here in Arizona, who said, "There are too many trails to choose, just one, Charlene. I've included a picture of Flatiron Mesa in Moab. It is one of my many favorites. It's not a difficult trail, but it's really fun. The trail changes terrain on almost every corner, and there's great views and enough fun obstacles to keep your attention. I really like taking new wheelers on this trail. If they weren't hooked on wheeling before, they are once they finish this one." Aaron Montez from Nevada shared his photo too and said, "We have tons of killer trails in our area, but this is Knucklebuster outside of Reno. It's short and sweet and trailer parking 2 minutes from the highway." Also added was Shane Lutz from Arizona, who said his favorite trail is Collateral Damage. "It was the first hard trail that I hit. Still a fun time every time. Great friends, great times." And then Philip Remington from Nevada said that his favorite trail is Moon Rocks, Nevada. "The wheeling is great and can be super challenging if you want to make it." If you have some off-road stories to share, be sure to check out our Facebook every week for the latest Social Dirt topic. Comment with your stories and pictures, and you will be entered for your chance to win a Bauer Power Hour goodie bag stuffed with all sorts of swag. Well, that wraps up this episode and this season of Bauer Power Hour. We've had 34 guests, which brings us up to 232 guests since starting Bauer Power Hour. I know, it's incredible. Tune in next week for a cool recap on Season 4, just before we start into Season 5. I'd like to say a big thank you to all our viewers and listeners, as well as our amazing guests and sponsors. Remember, you can watch and listen to Bauer Power Hour on YouTube, Vimeo, and an assortment of different podcast outlets. If you're social, be sure to like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And if you'd like to be a guest on our show, know somebody who should be, or just want to chat, visit our website, BauerPowerHour.com, and click on Let's Chat to send us an email. Well, I got to get back to work. Tune in Tuesday for our recap episode. And until then, have a great week in the dirt.
Want to learn more about the guests on today's show? Visit www.BauerPowerHour.com for more information, photos, and videos. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter by searching for Bauer Power Hour Show for daily breaking news updates.